Hello, everybody. Last week we started chapter 4, and a quick revision. It starts with Bhagwan. Chapter opens with Bhagwan telling Arjun. Bhagwan is the possessor of the six qualities: Aishwarya, Yasha, Shri, Dharma, Vairagya, and Jnana. So the reason that we say that that is what Bhagwan means, it indicates to us that his words are infallible. They were true 5,000 years ago when they were said. They're true today, and they will remain true for another 5-10 eons to come. Okay, so there is absolutely no doubt that these words are very, very true. He starts off saying that this yoga, and that I told you, the load of the word imam yogam is chapter 2 and chapter 3. So Jnana yoga in chapter 2, karma yoga in chapter 3. This knowledge was given, he says, first, and this knowledge which is avyaya, imperishable. Why is the knowledge imperishable? Because the goal is imperishable. So if there is a goal which is imperishable, and if the knowledge perishes, how do we reach that goal? So therefore the knowledge also becomes imperishable. And obviously if he has given it at the beginning of creation, because he gave it to Vivaswan, Vivas, brilliance, Swan, possessor of brilliance, the sun, who then, he says, gave it to Manu, who is the first king of the Manvantara, as we have the yugas, we have the time periods. And Manu gave it to Ikshwaku. Ikshwaku is the solar dynasty in which Sri Ram was born. So Ikshwaku is the original Purusha of that dynasty, the solar dynasty. So here we see that these three, the sun, Lord Sun, the deity of the sun, it should not be taken as the inert sun that we see, but Hindu philosophy believes that there is a deity behind all these phenomenal forces. So the deity, Manu and Ikshwaku, they were all Kshatriyas. Why were the Kshatriyas given this knowledge? Because the Kshatriyas were the protectors of the society, administrators, and it was their duty to protect the Brahmanas who were giving the knowledge out. The Brahmanas were giving the knowledge, but they were not capable of protecting themselves. Neither were they capable of maintaining themselves, because they were not supposed to go and work. So the maintenance and the protection of the Brahmanas who were teaching this knowledge was in the hands of the Kshatriyas. So the Kshatriyas had to know the importance of the knowledge, as well as they had to have the knowledge of Karma Yoga, so they can properly do their duties of protecting the people as well as the Brahmanas. And that's why this knowledge was first given to the Kshatriyas. Now, subjectively, this is the objective meaning. Subjectively, the sun is the deity of the intellect. Manu is the deity of the mind, representing the mind, represents the mind. Not that it is the deity of the mind, but it represents the mind. And Ikshwaku represents the sense organs. So this pure self, pure consciousness, which is one undivided, homogeneous mass of consciousness, as though got conditioned by the intellect first. It came into the intellect first, then got another conditioning of the mind, and then again a third conditioning of the senses of the body. And thus this pure self appears fragmented in all of us. It appears divided. It appears like there is a consciousness within me and a consciousness within you and within you and within you. But originally it is an undivided, homogeneous mass. But because of these conditionings and its identification with as it got the conditionings, it got identified with those conditionings. And we see that manifested in ourselves. When I say that I am tall or thin or short or fat, I am happy or sad, and I am intelligent or dull. And that is the conditioning, that is identification. So then Bhagwan goes on to explain that this parampara that was going on, what is the parampara? Tradition of what? Guru Shishya parampara, that the guru taught it to the disciple, and the disciple again became a guru in his own turn and taught it to his disciple. So this tradition which was going on over time, Kale Neha Mahata, over a period of time, it got destroyed. Why did it get destroyed? Knowledge never gets destroyed. But what got destroyed was the kings who were supposed to the Kshatriyas, the people who are supposed to hand over this knowledge, they themselves were unable to follow the knowledge. Why? Because of a lot of desires arising in their mind. Now, that is one reason why this knowledge got lost. Knowledge getting lost means if there is a book, but I choose not to read it, or I choose to ignore it, then that knowledge in that book is as though it is lost for me. That is what is meant. The knowledge itself never can get lost. Book can get lost, but knowledge within the book cannot get lost. But if I don't follow that knowledge, then that way the knowledge is lost. So what happened was, when these kings had a lot of desires over time, they were unable to follow the principles of karma yoga and jnana yoga. Also, the other reason was there were not enough people to wanting to learn that knowledge. So this tradition got broken. Either there was nobody who was listening to the knowledge, or the one who was giving out was not, it also was not following the knowledge. Because of this, it got sort of lost. Now Bhagavan says here that now I'm going to revive that knowledge. I have revived it already, and I'm going to revive it with you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend. I told you the story of Arjun. Friend, he was very perturbed. He was actually very angry when that hunter who was Lord Shiva in the form of the hunter made fun of Sri Krishna. And that's when he started the fight with him, the war with him. Bhakta, because he loved Sri Krishna, he was a disciple, he was a devotee, and he was a friend. As a disciple, he would follow whatever the guru says. The disciple is one who submits to discipline. So when the guru is telling if you're a disciple, if the guru is telling you something, then you must follow what the guru is saying. Arjun was capable of doing that because he himself had surrendered as a disciple. He says, consider me as your disciple and give me this knowledge. Bhakta, he loved Sri Krishna already. They were cousins, they were friends, they were very close to each other. So he loved. So he was a devotee. Devotion helps in this knowledge, because if you love the person who is actually giving you this knowledge, chances are that you will listen to that knowledge better. It's even in our day-to-day life. If somebody we like is telling us something, we listen. If somebody we don't like, we're like, what does he know, or what does she know? That is usually teenagers and parents. Parents don't know anything, right? What does she, mom say? Oh, it's honestly, if mom is doing something, it's not. When somebody else, but mom is doing that already. Only when, see, Madonna had, I think, Om henna on her palm. Am I right? I think it was Madonna. That's when my son clued into Om. Like, mom, what is Om? It is on top of my altar in the kitchen. You never noticed. It came on her palm. Then it is Om. Then it's very important, because if she has got it, mom says Om, or who cares? That way. So he says that you are my devotee, disciple, and friend is a person on an equal footing. And that's why Arjun could ask him whatever questions that he wanted, out of genuine curiosity, genuine wanting to know, not to find out what he knows or does he know more or whatever. Now, Arjun then asks a question. Arjun is disturbed, in the sense confused, not disturbed, confused, that you are born very recently as compared to the son who came from the beginning of creation. I know when your birth has happened. You're older than me, but I know when your birth has happened. How do I reconcile this idea that you gave this knowledge to Lord's son? This verse 4, the hidden meaning in this is that I can see that you are not telling a lie. That I can never say that, oh, is he just faking it, that he told? No. But I can also see that as this form which I see, as the form, in the form, you couldn't have given this knowledge to Lord's son, because I know when this form was born. So the hidden question here is, what is your true nature? It cannot be this form. I see the form, I know when it was born, but now that you're telling me that you gave this knowledge to Lord Son at the beginning of creation. When did Lord Son come? Beginning of creation. That means your nature, true nature, is not this body. It is something else. So the question is, what exactly is your true nature? Because I know you're not lying, and I know when the form was born. So they don't reconcile. So that's why, what is your true form? Now Bhagwan starts explaining. Bahuni me vyatitani, 5, we were here. Many janmas, many births have happened, both for you and for me. You don't know, I know. Now this is the literal meaning of this verse. Now let us think a little bit deeply in this one. So when Bhagwan is saying that you don't know and I know, what is he pointing out to us? He is pointing out the difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. So Arjun is the Jiva, the limited being, like we think we are a limited being, because I think I'm only this much. I'm Alpanya. My knowledge is very, very limited. I don't even know what has happened in my own previous birth, let alone know what is happening in somebody else's. I don't even recall things from my own past, not past life, even from the time of birth. How will I know what has happened in somebody else's life? But Bhagwan is saying that I know everything, which means there is a difference. So he is Paramatma and we are Jivatma. Therefore, he knows Bhagwan. One more meaning of Bhagwan is the one who knows the past, present, and future of all the jivas, and simultaneously. That is Ishvara. That is the power of Ishvara. That in 1 second, he knows everything that has happened with all of us, the entire universe, all the insects and the animals and the birds, everything included. He knows that. That's why he's called Sarvajna, all knowing, all knowledge. So by saying that many births have happened and I know and you don't know, birth and death, last time also I told you, we really don't know our birth. Somebody else told us that we were born. We are not aware of that. But if somebody is aware of the birth and death, it means that he is neither born nor is he dying, because he's something away. If I were to give you our own example, see, in my heart, don't I know that my body was small and then it grew taller, fatter, whatever? If I were only the body, think about it. If I only were the body, how can I remember what my body was a few years ago? I have to be something other than the change. Body is changing. I have to be something other than the change to know the change. Because if I was the body and I changed, body changed, but if I consider myself to be the body and I also changed, how will I know what I was previously? So when Bhagwan is saying, I know the births, all the births and all the deaths, it means that this birth and death are changing, going on, and I am something other than the birth and the death. Also, it means that birth and death are unreal. And what I am the substratum. I am the only real one here, substratum. That is what he's saying. And you being a Jivatma, you think that you're born and you're going to die. So you are in that birth and death cycle, and that is the reason you don't know your previous births, and you're not going to know your future births either. Is this point clear? Any confusion? Because now I'm going to go more deeper. You see, to know a change, you have to be something different from the change. If you yourself are the change, how will you know? How will you know the change? You won't. Think about your own self. Do you not know how you were when as a child? Body-wise, huh? Mind also, you know. Oh, my mind, I like this, I didn't like this, now I like this, now I do. If you are only the mind and your mind only changed, you are the mind, you changed, you can't remember the previous condition of the mind. You are not the mind. That's why you know you are not the body. That's why you know you can see the changes happening in your own body, because you are something other than the body. This is what Bhagwan is saying. I am something other than birth and death. Neither have I actually been born, nor am I going to die. I am standing apart. And so I can see this dance of birth and death, which is going on for everybody, for all of them. Now, This is a method. There is a method of explaining the pure consciousness, the self. Okay, this is a bit deeper. If you've understood, if you're clear about this much, it's okay. The verse is understood. There's nothing, nothing, But if you want to go a bit deeper, if you want to understand, have a deeper understanding, what he's actually referring to is the pure self, the substratum, as we call it, and is referring to creation and destruction, because birth is creation and death is destruction. Birth and death words are used when the individual is concerned. So individually births are happening, but at the level of the totality, what is happening is creation is happening and destruction is happening. So actually, when he says, I know all the births and deaths, he is actually also saying, I know all the creations that have happened, all the yugas that we have gone through, I know them, and I also know their destruction. That also I know. There are two methods of explaining pure consciousness or pure self, okay? Even in our ordinary life, if I were to tell somebody something which they don't know, the easy way to do it is to ask them what they know. Correct? Everybody gets this? Example, if somebody wants to come to my house and they have never seen my house, then what I'm going to ask them is, do you know Oak Ridge Mall? Because it's a mall which has been there for so long. So many people know it. And then people say, oh, yeah, I know Oak Ridge Mall. And so that is something known to them. My house is unknown to them. My condo is unknown to them. So I say, you know the mall? I live across from the mall. So from the known, you take them to the unknown. Once they see the unknown, they don't need that hint of mall. Next time they come to my house, they don't need to know that the mall is here and she's opposite the mall. I know her house right away now. So what Upanishads do, what Vedanta is doing, what Shastra is doing is pointing to us something that we know, and from the known, we go to the unknown, because right now the pure consciousness is unknown to us. Okay? It's not God in the temple. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the substratum. So in Mandukya Upanishad says, what do we know? So in our life, we know the three states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. Correct? We are awake right now. Hopefully all of us are awake and not dreaming or daydreaming. At least visually, I can't see anybody in deep sleep. No snoring is being heard. So these three we know. So Upanishad is saying, you know these three? I'm going to say, yeah, of course I know. I'm awake right now and I will sleep afterwards and then I'll go into dream. I know. Okay. The next thing, do you understand that when you're waking, the dream and the deep sleep states are negated? Right? Right now, because I'm awake, I'm not dreaming and I'm not deep sleep, in deep sleep. When I go into deep sleep, waking and dream will be negated. When I go into dream, waking and deep sleep will get negated. So each state is negating the other. There are three states, which I'm very familiar with. Each state is negating the other two. Okay. So Upanishad says, you know these three? Yes, you know that. If you know these three states, can you be any one of those states? Now that is the question. If I consider myself to be the waker, okay? If I'm only the waker, I cannot know that I had a dream last night because I was a waker in the dream also then. Then I cannot know the other states. If I am any one, if I say I am the dreamer, then I don't know the waking and the deep sleep states. But what am I saying? I know all the three states. I know I was awake. I know I went to bed. I know I dreamt, and I know that I woke up again. So what Mandukya Upanishad says, if you know you are something other than the three states, you are not the three states, you are something other than the three states. And that is what is your real identity. And that is what pure consciousness is. So that is one way of explaining. You know the three states, understand that they are getting negated, understand that you have a memory of all the three states. If you have the memory, you cannot be any one of the states. Because if you are the waker, you cannot become the dreamer. You cannot. You are somebody else. So you know that there was a waking state, and then from that waking state, you went into a dream sleep state, and then into a deep sleep. So that is what you are. That is what pure consciousness is. That is what actually you are. And you are not one of the three states. That is one way of explaining Mandukya. Taittiriya Upanishad, this is what Bhagavan is talking here about creation and destruction. Taittiriya Upanishad adopts this method. Says you see creation happen. See, thoughts are created, they get destroyed. Body, we see birth is happening, death is happening. You see all this happening, yes. Then at a totality level, it is creation and destruction. So if you are seeing the change, you cannot be the change. You have to be something changeless to see the changes that are going on. So when Bhagavan is saying creation and I know all the births and deaths, you don't know. I know all the creation and destruction that has happened so far, and I will also know in the future. And therefore, I am the only real substratum. The creation also is false, so also the destruction. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that creation is happening and destruction is happening. And because it is an illusion and I am the real substratum, I can see this illusion happening. This is what he's saying here. There are two words. See, there is one word called Swapna Purusha. Purusha includes three also. Okay, Swapna Purusha. And there is one word called Swapna Abhimani. Swapna Abhimani. So here what Bhagavan is telling him, I am the Swapna Abhimani, and I'll explain to you what they mean. And you are the Swapna Purusha. This is what Bhagavan is telling him. What is a Swapna Purusha? A Swapna Purusha is a one who is dreaming. Swapna is dream. So the person, Swapna Purusha is dreaming. Okay, he's in the dream. That is when, suppose if I had a dream last night, then while that dream was going on, I was a Swapna Purusha because I was dreaming. And while the dream was going on, it was very real to me. It was very, anyone of you who has had the dream, think about the state of your mind while you were dreaming. Did you not know that that is very, did you not think that that was very real? Whatever that you were seeing, it was. When I wake up from that dream, what I become is a Swapna Abhimani. So Swapna Abhimani is one who sees the dream after it has happened and comes to know that it is an illusion. Swapna Abhimani, that is called. So every time I wake up in the morning, I have a dream, I think it is real, I am a Swapna Purusha. And when I wake up, I immediately become a Swapna Abhimani. I say, oh, that was a dream. So that was, whatever happened in the dream is not real at all. It's an illusion. It can be discarded. Bhagwan is saying, I'm a Swapna Abhimani because this waking world also is a dream. And all of us, all the jivas are now in this giant dream, Dirgha Swapna, this long dream which is going on. We think it is real. Only when we wake up to the fourth state, which is Turiya, when we wake up, we will come to know that this is all a dream and this is an illusion. But what Bhagavan is telling him, even right now, I know that I am the Swapna Abhimani. I know that. You don't know that. That's what Bhagavan is telling him. You don't know. You are dreaming. You think that this is all real, but actually it is a dream. But I am not. I know that this is a dream. Therefore, I know the beginning of this dream and I know the end of the dream as well. And you don't know because moment to moment, you think it is real. This moment is real. That moment is real. Whatever is happening is real. Whatever is happening is real. This is the deeper meaning of this verse. Are there any questions here? Everybody clear? Okay. All right. Now the question arises. This is Gurudev has said that. If you are the eternal Lord, but then how then can you, the eternal Lord, have a birth in the absence of dharma and adharma? Because if you, how is your birth happening? Because I do see you. I know your birth happened. I do see you. And therefore here now Bhagavan explains the prakriya, it is called, his birth. What is the secret behind his birth? Why is his birth called an avatar and our birth is called an birth only? I think we read this verse, right? Ajo pisannavayat Ajo pisanyavayatma bhutanamishvaropi san prakrutim swamadhishtaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Though I am unborn, Ajopi, though I am unborn of imperishable nature, and though I am the Lord of all beings, yet ruling over my own nature, I am born by my own Maya. So, as the substratum, as the pure self, I have no birth yet, and I am imperishable, meaning changeless. Because as we have heard the description of matter, which is body, the body is born and it undergoes the 6 changes. There is always the changes happening in the body. And therefore, when he says, I'm unborn and imperishable, so I have no birth and I have no death. So the first and the last modification he negates, which means anything in between also is automatically negated. So there is the birth, then there is growth, then there is decay, then there is disease, there is change, and then there is death. So the first and last 2 modifications negated, the middle 4 automatically negated. So he says, I have no birth and I have no, already he said, many births have happened, but in actuality, my birth is only an appearance. It appears to you that I'm standing in front of you, but it is really not like that. And I am the Lord of all beings, Ishwaropi San. So Lord of all beings, what is the Lord? That's the lordship. When we say Bhagavan, the one quality, Aishwarya, so that Aishwarya is the lordship. What is lordship? Is complete control over all the beings. What is lordship? Lordship is what? Control. It's the controllership. How does Ishwara become the controller? Because he is the Antaryami. That's why one of his names is Antaryami, seated in the hearts of all of us. He says, I'm seated in the hearts of Riddhi Sannivish. He says, I'm seated in the heart. It's our conscience, at a very gross level. It is our conscience which tells us this is wrong. Don't do this. Don't do that. That is incorrect. That is what Ishvara is. When the conscience is telling you what the correct thing is to do, it is Ishvara. So he says, I am the controller, but my own nature is under my control. What is the difference between us and him? His Maya is under his control. Our Maya, our Avidya, we are under the control of Maya. Maya is the 3 gunas, Prakriti, Maya, these are synonyms. Prakriti and Maya, they have the 3 gunas. And what is happening is we are constantly tossed about by the 3 gunas. We are under their control. So when we try to get up early in the morning and the body is very tamasic and the mind is extremely, so let's just sleep in a little bit more. It's still dark. Days are getting shorter now. It's cold. It's getting cold also now. Why get out of the comforter? Whereas what would happen if we were to control tamas, we would say it doesn't matter if it is cold or dark or whatever it is. This is my time to get up and I am going to get out of bed and I am going to start doing my work. That is the difference. This is what he's saying, keeping Maya under my control. So when he keeps Maya under his control, what happens is he chooses the time of his birth. He chooses the place of his birth. He chooses the womb of his birth. Therefore, we see in the various avatars, he thought, Matsya avatar, fish. What I need is a form of a fish because the whole world is going to go into a deluge. So he said, okay, now I'll become a fish. Then he became a boar. Oh, right now, what is needed is a form of a boar. He also became a turtle. In that churning of the Milky Ocean, that mountain, Mandara mountain, started sinking. It needed support from the bottom. Now, as a human being, he cannot give support. So he became a giant turtle. That is what is meant by Maya is under my control. What is the difference between us? Maya is not under our control because our karmas, the actions that we have done in the past life, have determined the form that we have today. So if we do actions which call for a form of an animal, we will get an animal form. We have no choice in that. We have worked, we have done things in our past life to give us this sort of a body, to give us this sort of a mind, to give us this sort of an intellect. Whereas Bhagwan not having any karmas from the past, there is no vasanas, there is nothing, no hidden personal agenda for Bhagwan to take birth, for the Lord to take birth. He will explain why, because now the next question comes is, why do you have to keep Maya under your control and why do you have to take birth? That will come in the next one. So he has no personal agenda. Because we have collected so many vasanas in the past, those vasanas have to get exhausted. And the type of vasanas that we harbored, that is what is giving us that type of a birth. So ours is like a predetermined birth, predetermined by our own actions. So predetermined must not be said, God gave me this form. No, God did not give me this form. I only did certain action. Therefore, I wanted to sleep 22 hours a day. So now I got a cat body. I wanted to have 40, 50 children. So now I have a pig body, because human body cannot give birth to 40, 50 children. But that is the thought that I had. I want to, I want to become an actor. I have a friend. I want to, like, he just lives, eats, and drinks movies. That's his lifeline. I'm very sure that he's going to get birth in some actor's family, or some movie producer or movie actor, something. Because when you're constantly thinking of that thing, Bhagwan says, Tatastu. Bhagwan, whatever you think, says, okay, no problem. You want that? You will get it in your next birth. We have to be very careful of our thoughts. So this is what he's saying here, though. He says, in my case, that is not the case. That is why his birth is an avatar. Last time also I told you, he had no reason to declare that he was coming, but he proclaimed. He made Kamsa angry. He made him afraid, frightened. That his favorite sister he put in jail. You know the story. Put them in jail, the husband and wife. And yet Bhagwan took birth and he escaped from there. He is the director of the drama. He is the hero of the drama, he himself. He himself is all the characters in that drama. He is himself playing everything, and he's the director. So he says, this one I'll become king like Rama. He says, what a royal birth. Shri Ram had a royal birth. Up to age 16, his life was absolutely comfortable. And look at Krishna's life. Right from birth, in jail. Why? Because he chooses. That's his choice. That choice he has, which we don't have. That's why that is avatar, ours is birth. We can choose by choosing our actions. Our actions and our thoughts can be made such that our next birth will be can become divine. It is in our hands. Okay? All right? This is what is meant by Maya under my control. Means all the three are under his control. Ishwara, that is the difference between Ishwara and Jiva also. Ishwara knows his real nature. Ishwara always knows that I am that Brahman, pure self. And this is my Maya, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and they are under my control. Jiva doesn't know its own real self. We don't know that we are really that pure consciousness, and we are under the control of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And that's where we can start. We can change. I think Vinita asked in the Monday class, right? We'll talk about it tomorrow. That can we change? Yes, we can change. Okay. All right. Now, two very important verses, 7 and 8, and also very often quoted. If any one of you had seen the Mahabharata serial, these were the verses that were in the titles. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever there is decay of righteousness, O Bharata, and rise of unrighteousness, then I manifest myself. See, I manifest myself is the word. Sambhavami, srijamyaham. So not I take birth, but I manifest. Okay. And before that, Gurudev has put, when and for what purpose does the infinite so bound? So why are you getting bound in this on purpose? You didn't have to, but why? So this is what he gives the answer now. Yada, yada, and there is tada, yada and tada, yada when and tada then. So whenever there is dharmasya glani, we have to, these are important words. We have to understand what dharmasya glani is. Decay of righteousness. What is decay of righteousness? What is dharma first? Dharma here should be understood as a code of conduct that has been given by the Shastras. So the Vedas, the Shastras, our scriptures, tell us the do's and don'ts. And what are the do's and don'ts? How do we know what my do's and don'ts are? They depend on Varna and Ashrama. I've told you this before. The Varna, which is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya, and Shudra. And ashrama is the brahmachari ashram, the grahastha ashram, the vanaprastha ashram, and the sannyas ashram. So as per your varna and as per your ashrama determines what is your duty. If the duty were to left to me, if I had to choose my duty, I will only choose things that I like. I'm not going to choose. So it is not what you like, it is what the Shastra is telling you. So the Shastra is telling us, you're a brahmachari, okay, fine. Then your job is to study. And what studies should a brahmachari do? It depends on the varna. So are you a Brahmin? Then you have to study all your scriptures, etc., etc. If you're a Kshatriya, you study warfare. That's why Arjuna, the Pandavas, the Kauravas and all, they were taught warfare right from the beginning. A Brahmin boy will be taught the chanting of the Vedas, the meaning of the Vedas, the teaching of the Vedas, that sort of teaching he will have. That is his duty. Kshatriya, Brahmana will learn warfare. What is the job of the Grahastha? To earn money. Grahastha, married, once your studies are complete, previously it was divided into 25 years, 25 years first brahmachari, then up to 50 grahastha, then up to 75 vanaprastha, and after that sannyas. Right now the age, because people are studying so much more, etc., etc. As you get married and you settle in life, you need to work and your duty is to support all the others. And then Vaishyas have their own duty and Shudras have their own duty. They are the service people, Vaishyas are the trading people. So economics and all that. So we have seen all that in detail. So these are the duties that are given, and that is what is the meaning of dharma here. Now, what Bhagavan is saying is, this dharmasya glani is happening. Why is dharmasya glani happening? This has been written in the Vedas. So dharma glani happens when I do not follow what has been said by the scriptures. This is a direct instruction to Arjun, because if you remember in chapter 2, Arjun said, I will leave the war and I will go and beg. There also Bhagavan, there also I told you, what he's doing is he's a Kshatriya, his dharma is to fight. He said, I will leave the fight, I will leave the war and I will go and beg. So what he was trying to do was leave his own dharma and go take up somebody else's dharma, the dharma of a Brahmin. And Bhagavan will not, that is dharmasya glani. When I leave my own, what is my duty? If I have 2 young children at home, that is my duty to look after the children. But if I leave that and if I go do volunteer work to help other children in the society and my own children are being neglected, dharmasya glani is happening. Okay, so dharmasya glani, one reason it happens is dharma is not getting destroyed. The do's and don'ts that are given, they are there in the book. But if I don't follow them, then there is glani. And why is it that I don't want to follow that? Why? What is prompting me to stray away from my own dharma is desires in the mind. When there are a lot of desires in our mind, unnecessary, beyond my means. If I were to give you an example, say I'm a grahastha, I have a certain amount of paycheck. My desires should be such that they will fit in that paycheck. But if it's not, now my desires are like huge, I want something way more than what I have, then I'm going to do something which I'm not supposed to do. Something illegal, something immoral, something this thing wrong. And that is when dharmasya glani is happening. That is what is meant by dharmasya glani. So not following what we are supposed to do. And why do I not follow is because of my desires. That is, that time he says, then what is happening is evil is rising. So I come down to strike a balance between good and evil. If you see the story of Mahabharata, that is exactly what was happening between Pandavas and Kauravas. Duryodhan was getting more and more evil by the day, to a point where he even refused to return their kingdom to them because they had come back. So now Bhagwan had to, that's why he had taken already birth. Or even in Ramayana, when you see, when Ravana became more and more and more and more powerful, then Mother Earth went as a cow to Vishnu and said, you know, you need to come and protect me because he's getting more and more powerful. That time Bhagwan said, okay, I will come down as Sri Ram, as Dashrath's son, as the son of Dashrath, right? So to strike that balance between good and evil, when this dharmasya glani is happening, that is when I take birth. I manifest. That's one interpretation of this dharma. The second interpretation of this is, see, dharma is it's a code of conduct. It's a set of values as well. It's a way of righteousness. It's what is telling us what is right and wrong. Okay. Now another reason why dharmasya glani can happen is there is the dharma which can never, there are these values. Okay, there is love, compassion, kindness, goodness, whatever, honesty is the best policy. This is all dharma that never gets, honesty, love, these are intangible values. They can never get destroyed. But what is getting destroyed is my faith in them. So when it is said honesty is the best policy, now I'm thinking, you know what, I led a very honest life and I didn't do anything wrong. Look at my neighbor, look at my coworker. He's so dishonest. I know he's doing all the cheating and all. Look at what kind of a life he is having. Look at my life. I don't even have a Toyota. He has God knows what, you know. So when these type of thoughts start coming in my mind, then dharma se glani is happening, because my faith in that dharma is shaking. That is another reason. One is I'm not following what my own duty is to do because of the lot of desires in my mind. That is an objective explanation. There is a set of duties that I have. So that's why I have to determine which, am I a grahastha? Am I a vanaprastha? Am I a sannyasi? I have to determine, am I a brahmachari? And then as per that, I have to, the duties are there, I have to follow. That is one reason. And second reason is my own faith is now dwindling. This is what's happening. A lot of people are saying that, you know, what did I get? I led an honest life. What did I get? I don't have any money to show. I don't have a comfortable retired life. I don't have this, I don't have that. And when that sort of thing starts, those type of thoughts start coming in our mind, then know that dharmasya glani is happening. And at that time, Bhagwan comes, abhyuthanam adharmasya. So he says to strike that balance, to establish the faith in the mind of the people who are now losing faith in dharma, which is the right way. I come so that the faith is established. Now, how does he establish that faith? How does he do that? That he explains in the next verse. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. For the protection of the good, for the destruction of the wicked, and for the establishment of righteousness, I am born in every age. Now, for the protection of the good, paritranaya, sadhu meaning a good person. Okay, so this also has an objective understanding. So the objective understanding, if you look at Sri Krishna's life, even Sri Rama's life, or Narsimha avatar, though Narsimha avatar, just there was one avatar and he killed the evil person. So a physical destruction of the people, that is the objective meaning. Paritranaya sadhunam. So physically, the Kauravas got destroyed, right? Physically. If you look at Sri Ram, Ravana, he destroyed physically. Physically, he destroyed Kumbhakarna, Ravana, all the evil Marichi, all the evil, his demons, whatever. Sri Krishna's life, think about it. Right at birth, right from birth, he started this killing. Putana was the first one. Then that Shaktasur, Kausa, Chanura. So right from birth, physical destruction is one aspect of this Vinashaya cha Dushkrutam. Those who are evil-minded, I destroy them. Physical destruction. That is one meaning. I was thinking about this, and the story of Putana came to my mind. So I'll just tell you this story quickly. Who exactly was Putana? So Putana, as we know, Vaman avatar is there, right? Where Bhagwan Vishnu came as Vaman to Raja Bali's, yajna, and he asked for 3 steps. Putana, in that age, was Raja Bali's daughter. She was a young girl, young, beautiful girl. And when this Batu, the brahmachari, the Vaman dwarf, he came, he was so cute. You can imagine Bhagwan taking birth as a little child. He was so cute that she had that intense thought of breastfeeding him. She had that thought the first time when she looked at him. So fine, she had the thought, and then all this drama happened. He said, I want 3 steps. And Raja Bali, her father, said, yes, you get the 3 steps. And then suddenly he became this huge giant person. And, and then he, as we know the story, the last third stage, I put on earth is covered, heaven is covered. What about my 3rd step? Then Raja Bali says, my head, my ego, that is the 3rd step. So when he does that and he pushes him into hell, she got extremely angry and she said, I want to kill you. She had the thought of killing Bhagwan, Vaman Bhagwan. And I told you, Bhagwan always says Tathastu. That's why our pose of our dog gods is always, whatever you think, I give you. He said Tathastu. So she came as Putana, she breastfed the baby, and then she got moksha. She tried to kill him, but of course, it is not possible to kill the supreme reality, right? But she had the thought of breath, and then he gave her moksha. Whoever Bhagwan killed in his life, they all got moksha, including Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Kausa, Chanura, all the evil people, Shishupal, Duryodhana, everybody ultimately got moksha. Bhagwan, this thing. So this is the objective meaning of this line, Paritrana Sadhuna. What is the subjective meaning? So one aspect of dharma we saw, objective aspect, where the people are not following dharma. So there is a lot of evil. So now he will strike a balance between good and evil by destroying the evil. The other aspect is the faith is dwindling. Now what he's doing is internally he's restoring the faith in the minds of the people who are losing faith in that dharma. This is the internal. So Vinashaya Dushkrutam, the Dushkrut of the bad evil that is being destroyed is the thought. Thought he destroys. By restoring that thought, because you see, faith is a positive thought. When I have faith in dharma, I will follow that dharma. Now that faith is getting reduced, shaking, I'm losing that faith. So what he does is he destroys that negative aspect, like all the negative thoughts he will come and destroy. That is what is meant. And he says dharma samsthapana. Now what is dharma samsthapana? Dharma samsthapana, if you say I establish dharma. Establishing dharma, does it mean making a library of books which nobody will go and read? Then what is the point of those books? Dharma cannot be established by creating libraries and books. You can create thousands of books. If nobody is going to read those books, dharma is to be established in the minds of people. That is where dharma. See, when, even when we have in the condo, everybody's condo, there's the garage parkade gate. There are 3 types of people. There's the parkade gate, which we are supposed, when I come in by car, I'm supposed to wait there till the gate closes. Because if I just drive off, somebody can enter, right? People were just driving out or driving inside. They were not. Then we put cameras, because people started entering, all kinds of things happening. So when I was in council, I said there are 3 kinds of people. Whether you put the notice that, there is a camera and you're being watched, a person who is going to do it knows he will do it. He will wait there till the gate closes, because he understands that if I just go, anybody can enter. The gate is wide open. It takes a few, minute or 2 to close. Just wait here and let the gate close. So the one who follows dharma will follow whether the instruction is there or not there. The one who is not following will not follow whether the cameras. Who cares? I don't care. I'm just going to drive off. So there is that kind of view. Then there is the middle one. So we're thinking we are putting the sign. So there is this borderline people. Oh, oops, there is a camera. I better wait. There are these three types of people. Some people will follow dharma no matter what. Some people will not follow dharma no matter what. Like Duryodhan. He said, I know what dharma is, but I can't just follow it only. That's. And then the middle ones, right? So what he does is he is now he doesn't have to worry about those who are following dharma. He doesn't. Now what is happening is those who are not following dharma are becoming more. So these middle people are now looking that way because majority is over there. Those who are not following dharma are becoming more. Those who are following dharma, and then they say, oh, this guy is so poor, that guy is so rich. He didn't do anything correct, but he is rich. So now these middle type of people are looking there. So what he needs to do, he doesn't have to worry about those who are following. He needs to establish dharma in the minds of these middle people. So they will turn, and also those destroy the thoughts in those people, or then destroy them physically. Like Ravana, Putana, Kamsa, Chanur, Shishupal, Duryodhan, everybody, all those people, either he will destroy or he will change them. So this dharma samsthapana has to be done in the minds of the people. Now, when he has to, can he do it in the minds of every single person? See, he was standing on the battlefield. 19 divisions of army was standing. He could have taken a mic. Mic was not there. He could have talked loudly and told the whole Gita to everybody. Did he do that? No, he chose one person. So what he does, he establishes dharma in the mind of one person who all other people are looking up to that person. That's why even in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, I told you, why did he choose Arjun? Arjun was the most popular figure at that time, person at that time. He was valorous, he was handsome, he was all the good virtues he had. So people looked up to him. So what Bhagwan did is he said, my job is to establish dharma in your mind. Right now, you yourself are losing faith in your kshatriya dharma. Dharmasya glani is happening for this kshatriya dharma, which is your dharma. You want to leave that and go beg. I have to establish it in your mind, which means you will follow, means everybody who's looking up to you will follow. This is how I do dharma samsthapana. That is how it is to be done. Not by printing books, not by creating libraries. In the mind of the people, knowledge, that is what he's doing now to dharma samsthapana. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Every yuga, every age I come. This also, objectively, if you see, yes, in the Treta Yuga, he came as Sri Ram. He came as, I told you, as the fish when the world was sinking. He came as the fish. Then he came as the Varaha, the boar. He came as the turtle in the churning. Then he came as Sri Ram. He came as Sri Krishna. Even now, Kalki is expected to come on a horse. For many years are there, still lakhs and lakhs of years, but he's supposed to come. So yuga can be taken as that period of time, like one whole like Kali Yuga and this. That is one meaning. That's the objective meaning of this. But yuge also means moment to moment. So every moment he can take birth. When and how? When a person thinks of him. That's why I've always told you, in and through experiences in life, you should bring in God in there. Every time you think of either your personal deity or any God, know that he has taken birth. Sambhavami yuge yuge, in your mind. In your mind, he takes birth. When you take his name by speech, on your tongue, he takes birth. So yuge is interpreted as, yes, because otherwise also now we have to wait for Kalki. For how many years we'll have to wait? Lakhs and lakhs of years we are going to have to wait. Because we are in the first quarter of Kali Yuga. He will come in the last quarter. So are we supposed to now wait? Then when he comes? No, we don't. We don't. Every time you remember, every time you chant a shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, he is taking Nam Avatar on your tongue. That's why we say chant. Speech is purified by taking the name of the Lord. Body is purified by soap and shampoo. Mind is purified by reducing likes and dislikes. But there is speech. How do you purify speech? Take in the name of the Lord. And this is what he means. Sambhavami yuge. In every yuga, I will come. I will manifest in form. You can see the form. But I will also manifest in your mind. Every time you think of me, I will come in your mind. That is how these two verses have to be understood. Any questions? No questions? Okay. We shall meet next Sunday and then we'll continue. These are very, very important verses because they are the secret to his birth avatar. Okay. All right. If there are no questions, we'll conclude.